I often give this illustration about a telephone call that I received late one night. And this was a man who was a surgeon. He used to operate on broken bodies quite a bit. And on this particular day, he had a patient, and something went wrong in the process. And my family will tell you after 9 p.m., my worldview changes. I'm not a late night guy. I'm an early morning guy, but after 9 p.m., I just like to be horizontal and get some sleep, get this day over with. I'll start this day early tomorrow. So anybody who phones me after that hour is either a wrong number or somebody who's really got an emergency or someone's trying to mess with my life. And this was an emergency. So I picked it up. I said, "What's going on?" He said, "I've had a horrible night." He said, "I've had a horrible night. I'm sorry to even wake you up." He said, a woman was brought into the emergency room here. The paramedics brought her in. He said, "Rav, I want to tell you something. I have never seen a body so battered, the bones so shattered, so bruised. She was obviously terribly beaten up. When she was brought in, the paramedics said to me, 'Doc, it's not going to work. She's gone.' And the nurses also said, 'I think you're wasting your time.' He said, 'But I looked at her broken body, and I thought to myself, no way. As a doctor, I'm going to walk away from this. I'm going to do my best to rescue this life.' So he quickly scrubbed, and he said, the only way I could do something emergent was to cut the side of the rib cage, get my hand into that chest cavity, and hold the heart in my hand and start giving it a direct massage, just in order to get that heart beating." And he said, as I'm holding that heart, trying to get it beating, it was really like blubber. Nothing was working. I pulled my hand out of there. He said, "You know, as a doctor, you're not supposed to get involved in any way emotionally with what it is you're doing. You have to stay distant from it or you won't do your best." He said, "But when I walked away, I couldn't keep the tears from running down my face. I thought, who did this to this woman? What happened here?" And he said, just then a nurse came by and she said, "Doc, I think you better look at this. This is the bag that belonged to her," and emptied everything out. It was drug paraphernalia. I don't know whether she got caught in a drug ring or whether she was a junkie herself. I don't know what this story was, but he saw all these used horrible needles being dumped out, and she was beaten up by somebody so badly. He said, as I was wiping my hands, I felt a little bit of pain, and I looked at it and I noticed I'd nicked my finger in the process of putting my hand into the rib cage. He said, "I'm calling you because I'm terrified. As a young dad, she may have diseased blood, and I have nicked my finger in the process of trying to rescue her. I may have made contact with this diseased blood. Please pray for me. I'll get the results, but I don't know what it's going to be." So I said to him, "Is it a deep cut?" He said, "No, it's not really a deep cut. It's like a paper-thin cut." I said, "You're telling me a paper-thin cut, making contact with that kind of blood, and you're terrified of what I think you're saying to me?" He said, "It doesn't take anything more than that. Doesn't take anything more than that. A paper-thin cut, making contact with a kind of blood that could strip you of your complete immunity and your resistance and make your body totally vulnerable to any other disease that comes your way." And after he said that, and he was struggling and hurting inside, I could hardly go to sleep, and I asked myself a question. Are there paper-thin cuts that we put to our souls? Are there those innocent things where we did not draw the line, and after we have crossed over the line, we say to ourselves, what on earth have I done here tonight?